For 40 consecutive days, military strikes traded between the United States, Israel, and Iran pushed the Middle East closer to a full-scale regional conflict. The nightly artillery exchanges made an all-out war look like an inevitability. Then, the bombing stopped. A 2-week ceasefire was announced, putting an immediate halt to military operations. This sudden halt didn't come from direct negotiations between Washington and Tehran. It was brokered by an entirely separate nation quietly stepping in to pass messages between the hostile capitals. And the truce comes with a strict, non-negotiable term. A specific stretch of water must be immediately reopened to international shipping. If that condition fails over the next 14 days, the strikes resume. To understand how this conflict was temporarily paused, we have to look at the exact terms agreed upon and the highly unusual diplomatic triangle that managed to bridge the gap. The confirmation of the pause came from the American side first. Using his Truth Social platform, President Donald Trump confirmed his agreement to halt devastating military action against Iran for exactly 2 weeks. He made it clear that this temporary peace hinges on a single concession from the Islamic Republic of Iran. The requirement is the full, immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. A fifth of the world's daily oil consumption passes through this narrow maritime bottleneck. A disruption here ripples through global markets instantly, making its safe passage a massive priority for American economic interests. By tying the ceasefire directly to the strait, Washington effectively traded military de-escalation for the physical security of a critical global trade route. Following the American statement, Iran's Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, speaking on behalf of the Supreme Leader, confirmed Tehran's participation in the agreement. This diagram shows the structural mechanics of the truce, a delicate balance built on 15 points demanded by the U.S., countered by 10 specific points offered by Iran. Together, they create the framework for a temporary equilibrium. Under this framework, Iran's armed forces will stand down their defensive operations. Their primary concession is guaranteeing the safe passage of commercial vessels through the strait over the next 14 days. The Iranian military itself is tasked with actively coordinating this maritime traffic, working within specific technical limitations to ensure there are no accidental provocations on the water. For Tehran, halting their tactical defensive operations buys them essential time, preserving their domestic infrastructure from further devastating strikes while retaining control over their territorial waters. What makes this agreement highly unusual is the middleman. Both the American president and the Iranian foreign minister publicly credited the exact same third-party nation for brokering the deal. That credit went to Pakistan, specifically Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir, who initiated an intense series of back-channel negotiations to establish common ground. Pakistan leveraged its specific geopolitical standing to make this happen, sharing a heavily fortified border with Iran while maintaining decades-old military and diplomatic ties with the United States. Islamabad was positioned as a rare, trusted conduit for both sides. By acting as the central connecting point between Washington and Tehran, Pakistan effectively supplied the missing diplomatic infrastructure needed to facilitate a ceasefire. The announcement triggered immediate reactions across the region. Neighboring powers, keen to avoid a wider conflict, quickly opened lines of communication, with Saudi and Iranian officials directly discussing regional stability in the wake of the agreement. The approval extended globally. Leaders from Australia and New Zealand issued statements welcoming the 14-day pause, acknowledging the massive effort required to step back from the brink. While several nations formally thanked Pakistan, Turkey, and Egypt for their attempts to find a solution, the diplomatic response hasn't been completely uniform. Neighboring India, for instance, has so far chosen to withhold any official reaction. This widespread international engagement illustrates just how deeply the global economy is intertwined with Middle Eastern security, and how dependent superpowers have become on middle-tier nations to prevent escalation. It is important to remember that this is a strict 14-day window. The 2 weeks are simply a breathing period designed to formalize the 25 combined points of the agreement into a working, long-term structure. Pakistan aims to capitalize on this momentum. Prime Minister Sharif has publicly invited delegations from all involved parties to move beyond a temporary halt and sit down for decisive, face-to-face talks. The target for this proposed peace summit is April 10, 2026, hosted directly in the Pakistani capital of Islamabad. For now, the artillery fire has ceased, but the immediate focus of the global economy remains fixed on the commercial ships navigating the Strait of Hormuz. Pakistan's backdoor diplomacy paused the violence. The question now is whether the terms hold up on the water, and if this fragile diplomatic triangle can survive the pressure of the next 2 weeks.